In this video, we're going to talk about Spawn's influence reaches across time. You'll see exactly what I mean when you start going into this comic book. Alrighty then, this is a comic book review of Rat City, issues number 1 through 6, the first story arc, brought to you by Rated Comics. Now, before we get into the content, link in description if you wish to purchase this comic book and or any of our other limited print Rated Comics exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. Also, timestamps will be in description if you wish to go from issue to issue. And also, hey, this video is sponsored by coffee, so if at any point you'd like to buy your boy a cup of coffee, link in description or donate to the super thanks. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video and subscribing to this channel if you're liking the content we're throwing up. But with all that being said, let's get into the content. Now you gotta kind of appreciate how this is taking place in the future while still remaining in the Spawn universe, keeping the Spawn feel but keeping it futuristic with these gunmetal gray armor soldiers. So just outside of Alat, Azerbaijan, the media called it the conflict in the Caucasus. That's because no one wanted to say what it really was, which was World War III. The United Coalition of Nations, and when I refer UCN, that is what it is, the United Coalition of Nations, had several elite squads on their payroll. Military assets, the inner circle, kept off the books. The rank and file had no idea the carnage they were rubber stamping. Make no mistake, these kill squads were not saints, but some of them had a conscience still. At least Peter and Reese did. Those are the main characters, or Peter is the main character in this comic. But still, every team has that one person as they're going about during the mission, and that one person's always looking for a fight. The one person that turns war that makes it fuel their bloodlust, making war as an excuse to fuel their bloodlust. So this innocent kid is on a digital phone talking to his friend. But these squads come in and they're like, okay, we have him, we've been made. Reese tells one of the guys to stand out, keep your voice down, and Becker, the guy with the gun pointed at this innocent looking kid that's just on the phone, at least he looks innocent, I have him, locked and ready. But Reese is like, yo man, I told you to stand down. And Peter tells Becker, don't do it man. Becker is like, I ain't trying to hear all that. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. Keep going off the grid, going off script, and just blast him ahead just like that. No warning whatsoever. So even Peter was like, Becker, this kid was just a kid. I mean, you're a freaking psycho or what? You disobeyed a direct order. Now we have an unsanctioned casualty on our hands. And Becker's like, they're all dead anyway, they just didn't know it yet. Now, where I come from, you do not outrank me. Even though Rise is like, look, I'm a ranking officer on this and I outrank you, Becker's like, nah, bro, I ain't trying to hear all that. So they have to continue on with the mission, and this guy on the other end of this digital phone call is like, yo, man, you still there? He has to step on the device and just crush it and end that communication line right there. So they continue on with the mission. This particular team was sent after a warlord who was hoarding humanitarian aid. He was also supplying weapons to whomever the UCN, the United Coalition of Nations, deemed the enemy. So Rise is like, look, once you cross that threshold, casualties are approved. So we have to call the comms, call signs on comms only. And Peter's like, man, I hope Becker can follow orders this time. So they make their comms, they do their calls, and these squads were efficient to a fault. They had to be, because who knows what they encounter on a mission. And you see a little bit of futuristic assassin predator get to the chopper style, you know what I mean? A little reference to Predator, you know? So they come across this other kid and they take him down and go about the mission as well. And I kind of like how this comic just goes right into the action. Not much context is given, show but not tell. I'm not sure what's going on right now, but I do like the color and the image and how this all pops into futuristic Spawn kind of aesthetic. You're getting away from the supernatural Spawn at that point, but now we're getting into some future butt kicking at this point. So Peter's like, man, this is taking too long, and Rise is like, I know, Roger that. So they go up to this door and they call all their commands. Sakura 1, Decimary 1, Tora 1, we encounter combatants. Now we need y'all here so we can do this breach, but none of them are responding. So they're like, okay, well, we're just gonna take matter into our own hands. So boom, explosion happens, they detonate that bomb, bring down the door. They're like, UCN forces, you're coming with us, tell us your name. And this guy's like, okay, my name, what does your mission brief say my name is? The UCN needs a villain, so they chose me. I'm a businessman. And Becker's like, scan his face, Tora 1. I guess that's their code names. I'm on it. As his face is getting scanned, this guy's like, man, your government lies to you. But before he could even finish his sentence, and before the scan can be complete, Becker just takes this guy out like he did with the kid. They're like, what the hell? Like, the scan wasn't finished yet. it doesn't matter, it was him. And like the narration says, some people are just looking for a fight. So Peter, Carnes, and Reese escape and they run and they go on the intercom and they're like, hey, Deutsche won. I guess that's German. Jackpot. They repeat the jackpot. So Carnes' code name is Yankee number 1. And they go in and they're like, okay, do you guys have the package? Negative, there's no package because Becker did Becker stuff and ain't trying to follow orders. But the orders was scorched earth, and they repeat scorched earth. That is a change of the plan right there. The motto was this: adapt or die. Follow orders or, well, you will get the rest. You'll die. There were no survivors in that compound that night, and that was the point. Because what secrets could dead men tell? Dead men tell no tales. So Peter and Rye are on their way, and this honing blast goes up to the truck and just blasts them. And as they get out to see what they're doing, because that's their soldiers, that's their army, they're hit. Then all of a sudden their truck gets blasted and this truck lands on Peter Carnes' leg and he's pinned and he calls for Rye and Rye cannot help him. But what the heck can he do? He's pinned too. But he gets burned and they're all dead. They were all dead, left for dead. That was the mission going back in time in 2107, if I remember correctly. So 6 months later, in a Pharmatech Solution headquarters in New York City, and this doctor, Dr. Phineas Bose, chief science officer, tells him that the government has entrusted him and his team with the soldiers' care. So he tells them the state-of-the-art prosthetics are nano-infused in your bodies. They will let you regain mobility and independence, but they will also enhance your daily lives. Meeting your required goals also earns you a bonus from your branch of service. So this doctor goes up to Peter Carn, gets a little info on him. Yeah, he served with Commander Owen Rhines as well. So the doctor tells Peter Carn that Owen Rhines nearly finished his program several weeks ago. So are you ready to walk again, Peter? Yes, Peter's like, yeah, of course I am. I'm a soldier at heart. I'll do whatever it takes. Okay, but it won't be easy, but you're healthy and you have a good attitude. Let the test begin. So going back to what really entails in all this, Peter Carnes is like, maybe it was best that they were all asleep or mostly asleep during the whole procedures. It was like Frankenstein or that children's rhyme about Humpty Dumpty falling off a wall or something like that. PTS put them back together, but at what cost? And that's not even talking about the promises they made. PTS didn't tell them the real work was just beginning. Shoo. He would have just tried harder to stop all of it if he knew what he knew now. So Dr. Booz is like, get Lieutenant Carn to recovery. Right now, the nanites should integrate within the hour. Keep me posted if anything goes wrong. So they go in and 3 months later, they're working out and everything looks all good. So Max is called to meet with Dr. Bose and Peter's like, okay, where's Max going? Focus on your own recovery, says the doctor. Healing is an individual and complicated process. Now, let's see what you can do on the treadmill. And it looks like Peter's doing his thing on the treadmill, so they increase his speed and increase his incline. But Peter tried. No one can. No one did this completely. No one did this successfully. Rise tried, they all tried, but PTS had impossible standards, and those standards were not really clearly defined. Sometimes Peter wondered if it was Dr. Bose or the chairman making those decisions. So they take a look at the stats, and Peter's like, yo man, I feel stronger and faster already. Says Dr. Bose. He's definitely put in the effort, but there's no doubt about that, but the results aren't there. And then Peter gets all concerned like, yo, is everything okay, doc? Finish your cycle, Peter, and then meet me in my office, please. That's what Dr. Bose says. So in Dr. Bose's office, Peter's like, okay, I got some questions for you, Dr. Bose. I noticed a lot of the other vets aren't in the program anymore. Some of them started after me, so I was just wondering where they went. And they're like, we can't discuss another patient's progress. I can only discuss yours. We understand that this is a difficult time, but both PTS and your government have invested a significant amount in your rehabilitation and recovery. So Peter's like, so what does that mean exactly? You watching me out? It means you get to keep your state-of-the-art prosthetic legs. Yo, that's petty, man. That's just petty. And he doesn't even know what those standards are. He probably could have prepped for it or probably could have tried harder, but what exactly are they looking for? But Peter is no further use to them. And just like that, Rise, before him, Peter was thrown aside like so many others. Freaking BS. So 2111, I think that's a few years later, adapt or die. Peter is a survivor. He adapts. Other vets took their own lives because they couldn't handle the rejection like that. Honestly, who can blame them in this world? Sometimes it feels like we're all in a dark hole, as he says. And speaking of dark hole, he's in a hole right now trying to fix a leak. And Peter's like, man, it's hot as heck down here. So he tells his coworker to throw down a canteen to cool it down a little bit. But a little rumbling in the air happens. what is going on? And this better not be a prank. That's what Peter is saying. So he goes up to take a peek. But in another time, in another place, when Al Simmons succeeded in the necroplasmic detonation in 2019, it not only affected his reality, it affected all realities. And that's a reference to Spawn issue 300, 301, when Violator and Godsend did some things and put the work in on Spawn. And when Spawn appeared to be dead, that necroplasmic detonation exploded. And in Spawn issue 300, 301, it looked like it just took care of Spawn's reality in that time and bringing in other characters from the past, present, and future. Well, it also affected another timeline in the future as well, and that timeline is Peter Carnes' world. The ripples of one Hellspawn's actions would cascade through time and space. Peter was trapped, his prosthetic leg locked up on him, and he was losing more than just his grip on the roadway. And all you can see is just all this pandemonium ensuing, and Peter just gets stuck, shocked. He can't move his legs, and he just falls because some other brother stepped on his arm or stepped on his wrist, goes back, and like I said, everyone was affected by the blackout, some in ways that no one could ever explain. Peter was changed beyond anything he could ever imagine. So in PTS headquarters, he thought he was the only one affected. No, this laboratory is affected too because they're running on an emergency power backup and they can't lose this batch of test subjects. They're testing more fallen soldiers. And Dr. Bose is going to be pissed if they can't recover any of the subjects, if they can't stabilize any of them. So they want to get back to full power right now, but these soldiers look like, from first glance, they're not going to make it because this blackout took everyone by surprise. Government agents would study its effects for decades, and poor Peter was stuck in a damn hole. But the ladder broke his fall. So he gets up thinking Jimmy is still there, his co-worker's still up there. He asks if anyone is up there. He had no idea the chaos going on top is just strictly that, chaos. Adapt or die, Yankee One. That's his code name. He summons that. Quit feeling sorry for your freaking self and get that ass up out of that hole. Hole, not hoe, but hole. Anyways, he alley-oops up there. The way Peter tells it, he looked pretty damn cool doing that superhero Deadpool landing. I gotta do that callback real quick. But the chaos had already started, and it doesn't take too much for people to turn on each other. Just turn the lights back on. This is nuts. And there ain't no lights going back on. This is their people's time to get that loot, to get that bag, so to speak, and to earn that score. So when they go up to Peter like, don't be trying to do that good soldier stuff on us. I don't give a damn, just want to go home, says Peter. That's pretty much what he's going with. But they aren't done yet. None of them are done. Remember, someone's always looking for a fight. So that guy puts his hand on his shoulder and Peter just reacts. And he could fight, but the way he uppercuts him on his chin, that little metal piece in his chin, that futuristic metal on his chin, just gets, it gets dislodged, it gets knocked out. But something took a hold of Peter, and he didn't know what it was. All this rage is building with all this chaos happening, and they're trying him like he's some kind of sample. He don't want to be tried right now. So all he tells him is, I'm going, oh! He yells, lights turn green, and his head is pounding, and he doesn't know what's going on. So back in the Bowery of Rat City, like most of the dregs, Peter lived in Rat City. The government shoved all of them into this tiny apartment while proclaiming their compassion for downtrodden, which is like oppression, all right? It was cramped, and there were outbreaks all the time. If you know the history of the Bowery, this was history repeating itself. Meanwhile, the elites are high up in their towers, their feet never touching the ground. It's a tale as old as the haves and the have-nots. So he gets into his apartment, he's looking for his phone charger, and he has a message from Rye. Oh, and Peter's like, okay, what is it now? More bad news? And Rye's message to Peter is, I know we haven't chatted in a while, but there's something I really need to talk to you about. I've been looking into something, and it's best not we say this over the phone. So give me a call back for old time's sake. And Peter's like, I ain't got no time, I ain't got no patience for this. There's too much stuff going on right now. Peter and Rise were the only survivors of the roadside attack in a lot, and that was the attack on the beginning of the issue that we were showing here. They were lauded as heroes, but even heroes get thrown away in this world when they outlive their usefulness. Peter just felt like a pawn, rewarded for going across the world, killing whomever the UCN told him to. He once told him that the accident, he swore not to kill again, alright? It's funny because the promises we make to ourselves, knowing damn well we'll never keep them. So now that he's home, he tries to take off his prosthetic leg. But the leg ain't trying to come off, it's being stubborn like that. So Peter's like, come on now, get that, stop being stubborn, get off of me. But something's activated, something Spawn did. And like a butterfly flaps its wings in Brazil, it creates a tornado in Kansas. the butterfly effect. So all of a sudden this energy, this surcharge takes over, and you see Peter coming into something that he's not used to. It's unknown to him, but we know what it is. Al Simmons changed everything, and no one knew what would change next. And that is the end of Rat City issue number 1. Honestly, man, I dug the book even though I did not know what was initially going on, and I kind of like how they just thrust us into the action. Yo, the elements of the futuristic and some supernatural elements, but we're highlighting more of a futuristic side than the supernatural side like Spawn does. I absolutely dig it. And look, this is a Spawn comic book channel. We cover a lot of Spawn comics here. I'm in on this. I'm in. Now, previously in Rat City, Spawn's necroplasmic explosion in the past, which took place in Spawn issue 300 or 301, one of those 2 issues, has rippled forward in time and caused a massive blackout and power surge in New York City. So in Peter CAIRN's apartment, he doesn't know what's happening. He don't know what Al Simmons has done or how it affected the nanites in his body, because remember in the previous issue, Peter and his teammates or his soldier ops got their legs injured severely in the war. Then the corporation put these legs in, but they tested them out to see what they can do and what they're capable of. But when Peter and the team did not meet that metric, they were just gone to live, keep the legs, keep the upgrades, go on and live your lives as normal citizens, all right? But it'll be a while before any of us or any of them learned what really happened during the blackout. So in PTS headquarters, these doctors tell Dr. Bose that all the experiments are stabilized now, but they don't know what caused the seizures or the blackout, but they're exhibiting normal vitals for the past 4 hours. And Dr. Bose is like, okay, kind of recovering from this explosion as well. And he's like, what about the nanites? Well, those nanites don't seem too affected by the energy surge. Too affected? Yo, man, there's trillions of dollars of hardware in these people. We have to be sure nothing was damaged. Keep everyone sedated until I get back. I'm going to tell the chairman about this. And also send a message to anyone with a prosthetic from the past 5 years. You think those older models are going to be affected from this explosion, Dr. Bose? Well, we got to check everything. And, well, those people that were from 5 years ago, those older models, what if those patients don't willingly want to come in? Some of them might not even be in New York anymore. Tell them we're giving free upgrades. And once we have them, we can do more invasive tests. Yo, that's just scary right there. So Peter finally wakes up. He doesn't know how long he's been out, but his old soldier, Black Ops buddy, comes in, Reese, and tells him, hey, man, just checking up on you. You haven't answered your calls. Well, how long I've been out? Yo, man, you got a lot of messages, man. You've been out. And by the way, PTS is giving out free upgrades. They left you a message too, but you've been asleep this whole time. And Peter gets up like, man, I don't remember anything after the blackout. Well, figure it out, adapt or die, right? That's a callback to the first issue. And Peter's like, if you say so, I guess we got to do this. So Reese is like, I need your help with some things. I've been talking to someone who really opened my eyes. And Peter's like, what are you trying to do? You trying to recruit me for something? Do I look like an altar boy to you, bruh? Quinlan, that's who he's talking about. Quinlan used to work at PTS. They got a ton of stuff up there that Dr. Bose is doing and what he'll do to us. Bet you this appointment's to cover their asses for the blackout or something. And Peter's like, you think PTS really caused this blackout? That's too much right there. Well, didn't you feel something weird when it hit? I was in a hole at work, Rise. My legs were locked up, says Peter. And that's when we get this visual Spawn. So I guess Reese saw Spawn too. So did you see anything when it hit? No. Not even after. And Peter's like, so what am I looking for once we get into PTS? I don't know, but something doesn't feel right, so just keep your head in a swivel. So meanwhile, we get this panel right here of the apartment of Quinlan. That was the person that Reese was talking about. She's doing her thing, doing her investigation, but before she found, or right at the cusp that she found something, I don't know why her computer malfunctioned. She must have hacked into something that she had no business hacking into. Well, she realized it can't be, and she hoped she wasn't too late before this explosion happens. So in the waiting area, Peter's getting impatient, like, how long is this gonna take? And Reese is like, what, bruh? You got somewhere to be? Yeah, I got a shift tonight. I don't know about you, but the VA cut off my benefits when I got these limbs. Something about having an advantage and getting back to society. And Reese is like, hate to break it to you, but your foreman was the one of your missed messages. He said you went AWOL, so you ain't got no shift, bro. And Peter's like, okay, man, what the hell's going on? And Reese is like, it'll be okay. I've got a place you can keep, all right? Commander Reese, says one of the doctors. And Reese is like, yo, it's not Commander no more. It's just Mr. Reese now. Or Owain if you're my mom. well, please leave your belongings and come with me. And Reese is like, here, take my phone, all right, Yankee? Be careful and keep your eyes open out there. That's his last words to Peter. And Reese was supposed to bring Peter as backup, but Quinlan is trying to call Reese on his phone, and Peter had no idea what he was getting into, so he should answer the phone. It'll be rude to answer. And the other guy that's in the waiting area is asking Peter, like, did you see it? And Peter's like, see what? Like, excuse me? The demon, it's coming for us. All the bad shit we did over there. It's okay, man. We're just getting upgrades. Don't be fooled. There ain't no angels behind those doors. Are you freaking stupid? I'm guessing this brother had to see the Spawn visual too after that blackout. So Dr. Bose is like, good to see you, Commander. And Reese is like, look, I'm not in the service anymore. And Dr. Bose tries to charm him up like, hey man, we're always in the service of something. So Reese is like, where's Dr. Amon? I always liked him. Amon left a few years ago. He's no longer believed in the vision. So Reese is like, okay, speaking of vision, I'm seeing that needle. I ain't liking what I see. This will relax you. Wait, Reese is like, hold on, it's some bull jive. I thought this was an upgrade. And Dr. Bose is like, no, just trust me. After Reese got that needle, he's like, man, I can't. Like, and he hears the last final words, get him prepped. I want his hands on the table now. Like, if I got sedated and I heard like a doctor like rushing to get my hands and body on the table like that, with any simple care or anything like that, that would freak me out before I blacked out. So Quinlan's like, doesn't know how many messages she's left Reese. So the final message is this: Reese, if you get this, I hacked into the daily comms at PTS. You and Peter are in danger. You gotta get out of there. Dr. Bose isn't giving free upgrades. He wants to dissect you. So when Dr. Bose gets the needle and sees all the nanites in his blood, he's like, okay, the nanites seem to still be working fine. I've isolated one of them from the sample. Now bring up his baseline so we have a comparison. Nothing seems out of the ordinary for right now. And Reese is like, huh? Like kind of waking up a little bit over here, but not fully awake. So Dr. Bose is like, get me a sample of the nanites directly from the prosthetic hand. I need a side by side. And the doctor's like, okay, yes sir. So they take the hand off, and all of a sudden Reese just ignites into Hulk without the green, but he's got green pants and purple shirt, no hands, but he got feet. So what they ignited in Reese was rage within them that quickly turned to pure hatred. And Dr. Bose is like, yo man, get me security in here right freaking now. So Peter's like, man, what the hell's taking so long? Something ain't right. I don't feel right. So all of a sudden these troops come in. Peter's like, what's going on? Why you guys come in here all of a sudden all heavy like that? Don't be messing with me like that. Don't be trying me like I'm some kind of simple. I'm talking to you. Answer me. And they ain't trying to answer. They turn around like, hey man, back up before you get smacked up. And the other security guard is like, nah bro, leave him alone. Don't be trying him either. So they slam the door on Peter, and Peter's like, wait a minute, hold up, my friend's in there. Did something happen to him? So both Reese and Peter have started their transformations. But what were they becoming? They don't know. Even the bro in the back is like, what are you becoming? And Peter's like, I don't know what you're looking at, but I'm getting pissed right now. This wasn't the first time Reese had guns pointed at him, or even the first time someone saw him as a monster. And these army soldiers are like, man, what happened to him? Commander Reese, Owain, trying to calm him down. We're trying to help you. Guards, put your weapons down. It's okay. There's no need to damage the specimen. He's merely a deviant. Well, these soldiers are trigger ready, so any slight moving like right now, they're gonna start shooting off. A deviant, that's what they call all of them. And Dr. Bose is like, ceasefire, stop blasting on him, but it's too late. Reese is going ham. So back in the lobby, Peter's like, if you don't open the door, I'll do it myself. Uses all his strength and throws a chunk of metal out the door, and it dents the door. So whew. And Peter tells the guy, shut up with your damn delusions. Are you gonna help me or not? Because this guy is thinking about all this is happening in PTS headquarters right now. It's that demon that's coming for them, coming for payback. And Peter ain't trying to hear all that. But before he could open the door, Reese comes in full throttle, knocks Peter onto the ground, and everything happened so fast. Reese tried to help Peter, but yeah, Peter suffered the fatal shot in the chest right there behind the back. He's down, move in. And Peter does not like what he sees. This is all my fault, that Peter thinks. Reese, come on man, get up. And all Reese could tell him is, find Quinlan, they can help. But all this rage kicks in with Peter. You hurt my friend. It's you. You're the demon, says the patient. He ain't trying to hear all that. Now you're gonna pay. And he turns into Spawn 2099, Spawn Beyond, ready to take action and get some business going on, because people got to pay for this. And that is the end of this issue of Rat City, issue number 2. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. Also, link in description if you wish to add any of our limited print Rated Comics exclusives to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. So previously in Rat City, Peter is on the run from PTS. The organization that previously helped restore his legs has shown its true colors. So issue number 2, Peter CAIRN and his buddy Reese came to the PTS to get some upgrades, but deep down what they really want to do is dissect them for further research. So back at PTS headquarters, it's an all-out war. After all they endured, Peter and Reese were thrown back into a war zone, but the suit wouldn't let anything happen to them. So now that Peter CAIRN is fully taken over by Spawn 2099 suit, even though it took place in Spawn issue number 300 when that necroplasmic reaction happened in Spawn issue 300-301, well, Peter CAIRN's in the future reaped the benefits of it. But in order for him to truly understand those benefits, or to figure out what those benefits is or what's really going on, he's got to get his buddy Reese up out of there. So he picks up Reese and they just duck and head for shelter, or head for something else that's different than that surrounding location right now. So Peter was working on pure adrenaline and instincts. So he gets Reese up out of the building. So when he gets out of there, he has to figure out what's he gonna do, what's his next move. Well, he's got to get Reese to the hospital. So he runs and goes from there. He's asking for help, but people don't realize what's going on. So they tell him, get out of the way, you freak. Wait, help? You know, so Peter realizes the motto that Reese tells him from issue number 1, adapt or die. No one's gonna help you out, bro. You gotta figure it out. So even though he's got this new cool looking costume right now, well, he's got to figure out what to do with it and what it's all about later. So meanwhile, Dr. Bose and his group are looking at every drop of blood because they want to check out the nanites. And Dr. Bose has a brief with the chairman. He wants to be prepared. So he's studying the blackout because when Spawn issue 300 caused all that blackout with that necroplasmic reaction, he has to figure out what is up with those suits that those veterans that were provided to them. And we still don't know what the true intent is, but whatever it is not for the soldiers' benefit. It is for the corporation's benefit. So Dr. Bose discovers Reese's phone. He calls it and it ends up with Quinlan. Quinlan was the one that warned Peter CAIRN to get up out of there. So Dr. Bose is like, we haven't spoken since you were fired. How'd that whistleblower complaint work out for you? What'd you guys do to Reese? Why you calling me from Reese's phone? That's what Quinlan wants to know. But before Dr. Bose can fill in and say, look, I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna figure it out, Quinlan's like, I ain't trying to find out. So ducks the phone, puts it in the drink, and gets out of there. So Dr. Bose is like, trace that call. I want MX Wally brought in alive. We don't know the extent of the breach, and I want that data back. Find who that caped deviant was. Well, it turns out they have the answer. The caped deviant was Lieutenant CAIRN. Dr. Bose is like, find him for me right freaking now. So at St. Raymond Cemetery in the Bronx, that's where all the other soldiers were buried. Peter is like, look, I wanted a hospital, not a damn cemetery. And Reese is like, it's where I belong. Don't say that, Reese. I think, I got off easy. But before Reese's last breath, he tells Peter to find Quinlan. And Peter's like, I will. But that's the moment where Reese died, right then and there. Even still, Peter couldn't have faced him, couldn't have saved him. So there's this little beam of light flashing on Peter. They're like, hey, where are you? Stay right there. And Peter's like, oh, nah, bro, I gotta get up out of there. But this robot-looking patrol dog just chases him down, and Peter has to get out of there. So the Shadow is walking, the suit. He wants to know what's going on because the suit has a mind of its own, and he doesn't know where the heck he is, but he's had enough. Peter didn't want to adapt or die, he just wanted to die. So he tries to commit suicide on himself by impaling himself, but the suit would not let him. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to let go of your want to control, because you can't control what you want to control. It is what it is. Don't fight the stuff, just let it happen. Because none of us have any actual control in the first place. That suit controls Peter now. Kind of like how Spawn's suit took over, but maybe one of these days Peter will learn from Al Simmons how to control that suit. I don't know what Quinlan's doing right now, climbing up this building looking like he's trying to commit suicide right now, but I am sure we're going to get a much more, hopefully we get some kind of explanation of that. So Peter CAIRN is at home, and all of a sudden he gets ambushed by PTS, their team. Open up, take it down, and Peter's like, wait. He answers the phone and it's Quinlan. And Quinlan tells him, you don't know me, but before we can get any answer, they bombard his door and they look for him. Fan out, they say. He's not in the John. Well, where else would he be? And one of the soldiers recognizes that that's a medal for bravery for the UCN, and he doesn't feel right going after a vet. So they decide to check out the window, and they find a little bit of Peter left behind, making his escape. So they chase him down, and the soldier's like, don't move, soldier, your ass is mine. But Peter's like, bruh, please, see these hands from the future, past, and present. And he's pissed because he gets his memory like, you killed my friend. And that suit is starting to get activated right now with rage. Just like how Spawn, the more rageful he gets, the more pissed he gets, the angrier and the more powerful that suit gets. So these soldiers go up from behind him and tell him to put your hands in the air, and Peter's like, no. So they decide to take him down and release fire. But Peter had more power than he thought possible. He just needed to know how to control it. So Peter goes on the run, and those bullets are not doing a damn thing to him. So one of the soldiers is like, get me in line to Dr. Bose now. Tell him that we lost a Deviant. So when Dr. Bose gets word right before meeting with the chairman that the security team called in and they lost Lieutenant CAIRN, he gets pissed. So he demands that the media leaks that the monster Deviant they saw on Owain, with Owain Rise, the lieutenant from earlier, you tell them that Peter CAIRN, killed a bona fide war hero, and that PTS is offering a reward for anyone who has information on Peter CAIRN's whereabouts. Way to use the media to get what you want, right? So Dr. Bose is like, go do your thing, make sure the media does their thing. So the media does do their thing. They go on air and they talk about, hey, Captain Owain Rise was a decorated officer and leader in the conflict in the Caucasus, and his murder comes as a shock to many in the veteran community, as his killer was none other than veteran Lieutenant Peter CAIRN. So Peter CAIRN goes on the rooftop, finds Quinlan, and tells Quinlan, look, I won't hurt you, but what's going on? And Quinlan's like, well, they say Rise is dead. Is that true? Did you do it? Did you kill him? And Peter's like, no, Reese was like a brother to me. He saved my life and a lot. And that's referencing Rat City issue number 1. And Quinlan's like, yeah, I saw the footage on the street. A drone caught him with you, then you just disappeared. Where is he? Where did you take him? So Peter's like, well, he's at St. Raymond Cemetery with the rest of the team that we lost and unlocked. I didn't hurt him, I swear. And Quinlan's like, I've seen your file and you guys done some pretty jacked up stuff over there. Yeah, we did, says Peter, and we're paying for that. But whatever this thing is, it helped me get Reese out of PTS, and that thing he's talking about is that new futuristic Spawn 2099 suit. And Peter's like, but I want to keep fighting. And the thing is, Reese asked for my help, and I'm gonna help him even if he's not there anymore. PTS messed me up, and I think they caused a blackout that caused this everything that's all this pandemonium. So because of that blackout, I think PTS caused it. Well, little does he know it, they did not. But it's just a twisted mind freak over here, you know? Blackout was caused by Spawn in issue 300 or 301. Well, PTS wants to know about it, and Peter is now reaping the benefits, but he has to navigate this very carefully. But Peter continues to tell Quinn that, you know, Reese told him to find you and to help you finish what you started, what y'all started together. And I'll be damned if I don't at least try. So what's going on over here? And Quinlan's like, look, PTS didn't cause the blackout, Peter. I did, as he commits suicide. And we're left with yet more of a mystery what all this means as we end this issue of Rat City, issue number 3. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. Also, link in description if you wish to add this comic book and or any of our other limited print Rated Comics exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. So previously in Rat City, Peter and Quinlan meet for the first time as a shocking truth is revealed. Quinlan believes it's all Quinlan's fault about the blast and what happened in the events of Rat City issue number 1 that took place in the events of Spawn issue number 300, but we'll see if that's really true. So back in the apartment of Quinlan, 48 hours approximately before the event, Quinlan's thinking about that Quinlan really screwed up. And he thought that it was all figured out. The power boosts that were supposed to help with the decryption of the PTS files blew out his whole system. So all this electrical mayhem is happening, and Quinlan's like, oh man, the alarms went off. Quinlan looks outside. When the energy wave hit, Quinlan thought it was the end of the world, and that was just it right there. But you know what, is it really though? Is it really? We don't know. But Quinlan saved every possible file before the booster went to bed and all this shit happened. But by backing up that files, he wasn't know if that would be enough because he didn't know if he backed up all the files. So Quinlan unplugged it, things got worse, so all this pandemonium and electrical backfires happening, and Quinlan's like, okay, I think everything's okay, but bam, 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 someone's knocking at the door, and Quinlan didn't know what was happening. Had the security forces already found him? Then the lights went out, and he heard screaming from Reese. You know, Reese died a couple issues back, but Reese is here in this flashback right here. So Quinlan goes to the door, opens the door, says hello. Who the hell? Reese? What are you doing up in my house? And Reese is like, all right, look, I just got to catch my breath. So because the electrical backfire, Quinlan cannot open the door because electricity speaking, or lack thereof, it ain't gonna happen. So Reese tells Quinlan to back up for a second. He opens the door with his muscle Arnold. But Quinlan's like, okay, but you causing all that damage, I guess I won't be getting my security deposit back. Yeah, sorry about that, says Reese, but is something burning up in here? No, it's nothing. Are you sure? Yeah, says Quinlan. It's just, you know, I thought you were the security forces or something. Wait, why would they even want to come over here? And Reese thinks about it like, you know what? It doesn't matter. You're safe now. So Quinlan's like, what are you doing here? You sound like you're in a lot of pain. Oh, don't worry about me, says Reese. I'm all good. Adapt or die, remember? Well, yeah. About that. We need to talk about that adapting or die thing, you know what I mean? But you didn't answer my question. Why are you here? Well, I thought when you didn't answer my messages, I got worried. And I missed you. So they go in for a kiss, and Reese has a question to Quinlan. Please don't lie to me. Tell me what happened. And Quinlan's like, well, I messed up. In what way? And now we go back to the Brooklyn bitch of now that happened in the previous issue in Rat City issue number 3. And Quinlan just falls down to Quinlan's eventual death, if that's what it so appears to be. He missed his rise, and Quinlan let him down. But Peter would not let Quinlan die, no matter how much Quinlan felt like Quinlan deserved it. But Peter wanted some answers, or was it because Peter promised Reese that he was going to get to Quinlan and get those answers? Either way, he wasn't going to let Quinlan die. So he grabs hold of Quinlan, they hold on for dear life, they hit the rooftop, they keep going, and now they're in the apartment of Owen Rise. So Quinlan has to, you know, go over there, get up, like, let me catch my breath and let out this barf real quick. And Peter's like, you okay? In his futuristic Spawn symbiote. And Quinlan's like, yeah, I'm okay, but how are you doing all this, Peter? I don't know what this is, but this suit is kind of doing it on its own. It feels like it's following my instincts, but I cannot explain it. And Peter's like, looks like the security force had fun with you, right? And Quinlan's like, yeah, this is all my fault. Focus, Quinlan. What are they looking for? I don't know. And Peter's like, no, don't play that with me. You're gonna have to trust me. Trust wasn't something that Quinlan gave freely. Okay, Reese told you I used to work at PTS, but that was only part of it. The thing is, I was a tech analyst tasked with creating a new streamlined database. I was finding encrypted files with no classification. And Quinlan continues, I got curious and was able to break the encryption on a few of them. Dr. Bose and Dr. Amon of all kinds of experimental crap into their patients. They did all that. They were using you guys as guinea pigs. And then when I saw you and Reese in the files among the group, I had to do something. So I jacked the data and sent a whistleblower complaint to the government. I figured they had the juice to decrypt the files that I couldn't decrypt. But my contact said I'll be safe. And the government and the PTS are in bed so deep that you cannot separate them. And Quinlan found that out the hard way. The lady that Quinlan was talking to, she was a plant for the chairman. So the next day they fired Quinlan and kicked Quinlan's ass up out of there. But I still wanted to warn people about what the PTS did to them. Most ignore me, but Reese agreed to meet with me. He listened to me, made me feel like I wasn't going crazy. He was going to reach out to other vets like you for help. We were going to take down PTS and save the world together. And Peter's like, Reese was a charmer, alright, but you still haven't told me how you caused the blackout. Oh, Quinlan continues. I still had a copy of the encrypted files, but I didn't have the power to run a full decryption protocol on them. I met another tech head in a chat room who gave me a power booster. He said it'll do the trick. It was supposed to just supercharge my system so I could decode the rest of the PTS files. Instead, it blew a fuse on the whole damn city. Who knows how many people got hurt because of me? Well, Peter's like, okay, but you didn't know what you were doing, right? So how could you know that? And off panel we hear Lieutenant Connors, right, Quinlan? Didn't know what you were doing. But Dr. Ammon was like, but I still want those damn files. And that's what we end this issue of Rat City, issue number 4. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. Also, link in description if you wish to add this comic book and or any of our other Rated Comic limited print exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. So previously in Rat City, Peter and Quinlan retrace their footsteps to piece together what's happening. Meanwhile, Dr. Ammon is hot on their heels. So before we go forward, because we ended the issue with Peter and Quillen talking about piecing together with Reese, what happened, the whole nanites technology, and how now Peter is the new Spawn 2099 in the future or whatnot. We gotta go back like chiropractic to Pasadena. We see Dr. Bose talking about that he started off as an idealist, but you know, Quillen's talking about he's full of crap. So here we see him as a professor teaching students, and these students are not paying attention. So we see this guy with this like digital dot in the middle of his face right there, talking about he has an opportunity for him that he'd like to discuss. So now PTS, years later, that Dr. Bose and this guy, the chief science officer, is in a meeting. They talk about, you know, profits are steady with the company. Steady means it's on a decline. We want growth, and we want growth real fast. And we've made a significant investment in you, Dr. Bose, and Dr. Ammon. So now what are they talking about? What do they want to do? Well, shareholders want money. And Dr. Ammon's like, yes, we've been working on the nanotech technology, right? And the nanotech technology is what Dr. Ammon and Dr. Bose were experiencing with vets with limbs to see if they can marry the nanites with their limbs for, I think, military purposes. That's what we're going at over here. And Dr. Bose is getting happy because he's talking about, yes, the nanite technology. We could talk about real made organs from our own cells that they wouldn't reject the meds. It'll be a good, happy marriage, and this will make the company a lot of money, and we could do a lot of things with it. And the chief science officer is like, I know you're not familiar with every product we make. I know I lost count myself, but BTS manufactures rejection drugs. Your nanotech technology, we don't want to reject in the manufactured drugs or those meds that we're talking about, because we make those. We don't want to make ourselves obsolete, do we? And Dr. Bose is like, okay, well, what exactly do you want? And he says he wants to shake things up, get creative with your nano idea. I'm not saying scrap it, but put it on the back burner. We need something flashy here, something for the marketing department to sink their teeth into. We put a lot of investment in you, and people are fickle, and we must keep a hold on our market. So even this guy who is the boss, even he's expected to answer to somebody. So he's putting pressure on Dr. Bose, so Dr. Bose could put pressure on Dr. Ammon. Even though the nanotech technology seems cool, he wants something more flashy or reinvent the nanotech technology. So the thing is, this is what Quillen is telling Peter, and now that Dr. Bose has to go back to Dr. Ammon, and Dr. Ammon's like, okay, let me guess, the chairman cut our funny right here. There's some bull jive. Even though they're on the verge of discovery here, Dr. Bose is feeling the pressure, and Dr. Ammon is not really feeling it at all. So now Dr. Bose is like, we need something faster, newer, more innovative. We need to think about PTS and its shareholders. And Dr. Ammon, speaking like a scientist, like, I don't give a damn about the shareholders. We're scientists. We're here to make the world a better place. Well, it has to be a better place for all, and sometimes what's better for you ain't better for the herd. It's just crazy how that works, man. So Dr. Bose is like, well, the chairman gives a damn, and there's plenty that we can do. We just need to make sure, what, says Dr. Ammon, that the chairman's happy? Hey, hold up, he's my boss and I am yours. This is wrong and you know it. So now Dr. Ammon threatens to go back to teach at MIT, and Dr. Bose is pissed because even though Dr. Ammon is the true head, like the true talent of the whole robotics and nanotechs, well, Dr. Bose is his boss, so without him, he wouldn't get very far. So Dr. Bose tells him, we can do whatever we want, with or without you. We're going to keep it going. But if you want a scintilla of control, you'll stay and help me, or you can get the hell out of here. And, well, I guess Dr. Ammon realizes that. So now we go back to Quillen's apartment, the way issue number 4 ended. He holds them at gunpoint, and Peter's like, okay, Ammon, put the gun down. Oh, no. This is a new exosuit. Or did the nanites do that to you? So he's thinking that's their technology that they have to take back to the chief science officer. Is that what Bose is secretly working on behind my back? I wonder if it'll finally make the chairman happy. So now we know what the stakes are on their end, and we know what the stakes are on Peter's end, because his friend Reese died. Quillen was looking for some files to see exactly what PTS was doing, and they're just knowing that it is not a good thing at all. So Ammon's like, I'm not here for you, Peter. I'm here for what's mine. Do you have my files, Quillen? Screw you. And how did you find me, says Quillen. Well, he goes back to the flashback and says it wasn't that difficult. I've been tracking you since I gave you that power booster. I had a little friend tag along. The moment you integrated into your system, it downloaded the tracker. The only thing it didn't give me was the files you were supposed to secretly decrypt, but I knew where you were every step of the way. And when Quillen was supposed to decrypt the files on what PTS was doing, that's when the issue of Spawn issue 300 or 301, when Spawn just used his body as like a necroplasmic bomb past present and future. That's what happened, but they don't know that. And that's what makes this story so interesting. So Ammon's like, look, so I'd rather not do this way, but you're leaving me no choice. Give me the damn files. And Peter's like, yo, stay behind me, Quillen. They're calling you a deviant, says Dr. Ammon. Did you know that? Are you gonna kill me too, deviant? We don't have your freaking files, says Peter. Oh, guess I'll just have to put my gun away then. On second thought, Ammon had no idea what one shot would do. He blasted, and we know that the suit reacts in a chain reaction as a defense mechanism. Quinlan can't stand the noise level, so Quinlan has to cover his ears. Are you crazy? I don't have your damn files. Your shitty freaking booster messed up my systems and the lights went out. My booster was flawless, says Dr. Ammon. It didn't cause a blackout. Then what did? They don't know. But we know Spawn did in issue 301. So Peter's like, just take a breath. I don't hear any security coming, so we're leaving. Oh, no, says Dr. Ammon. Bo's corrupted my design. I need to know what he's done. Do you want answers, Lieutenant CAIRN? He's talking to Peter over here. Dr. Bo screwed us all over. Help us take him down. And Quinlan's like, this is BS right here. He doesn't want to help. He just wants his job back because we know the severity of the stakes that they're dealing with. And we can't let him live, Peter. What'd you say? Why? Why is Reese dead? Your partner, my friend. It's him or us. Kill him, Peter. And we see all this distortion happening here. Adapt or die. This is a suit taking over right here. Kill him, Peter. Kill him. Oh, you were always a killer, Lieutenant, says Dr. Ammon. Kill me, Lieutenant. Do it. And this is not the kind of hype you want to be hyped on right now. So this suit takes on the form of the Violator. Quinlan looking Violator and Dr. Ammon looking Violator. Either way, they both nasty. Adapt or die, and Peter is left with the choice. And before Peter makes that choice, well, he's gonna adapt or die, but I'm gonna leave you guys with this. This video is sponsored by coffee, so if you'd like to buy a boy a cup of coffee, link in description or donate to the super thanks. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video or subscribing to RatedComics YouTube channel, because I do these reviews early in the morning before I take the kids to school. But with all that being said, let's get back into the content. So now that Ammon is witnessing the defense mechanism of the suit, he's thinking, oh man, I think we might have struck gold with this nanotech technology. So Quinlan's like, Peter, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And the suit's just going all crazy right now, spiking up, going out of control. And Dr. Ammon's like, well, while he's going through his phase right now, I'm sure the lieutenant will be fine. But you and I are leaving, Quinlan. Grabs Quinlan by the arm. Quinlan's like, hail to the nod. See these elbows right here. And Dr. Ammon is pissed. So he points Quinlan at gunpoint and it's just like, I had enough of you. Before he could pull the trigger, you have to believe that Peter didn't know what he was doing, because that suit took on a life of his own and does the unthinkable with Dr. Ammon right there. And we're just gonna let you marinate with that image for a little bit, but that is the end of Rat City, issue number 5. Betrayal and chaos in the fight for control. They need the suit back to appease the chief science officer, and Peter's trying to figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, Spawn in the past or the present or future, whatever the case is, yeah, whatever he did in 301 with the necroplasm bomb that he did, that is the aftermath of it into the future. So now we got Spawn 2099 running around over here causing some damage, which So previously in Rat City, a hallucination causes a deviant to lash out uncontrollably and unknowingly unlocks a new potential with his powers. So before we go forward, because we end issue number 5 with Peter CAIRN and his suit going crazy on Dr. Ammon, we get this documentary powered by AI, and it's not responsible for any inaccuracies by AI researchers. That's just kind of funny how that is. We get a documentary of the history of New York, the Bowery, powered by Grant Farmtech Solutions. So for every problem, there's a Farmtech solution. So this lady gives this narration, this AI looking lady. From farmlands to an elegant passage to Rat City, as it's known today, the Bowery has been many things throughout the centuries. The Bowery is the oldest thoroughfare in Manhattan. It was a trail carved out by lineage of people. Once the Dutch arrived, they renamed it in their own right, and then several prominent Dutch settlers settled in and a whole history unfolded. So we get a little history there, going back like chiropractic. As it turned the century, the Bowery was a boom town. Manhattan's elite had homes and businesses there in the 1800s. Even John Jacob Astor, one of the richest men alive in the time, invested in the area, being a co-founder of the Bowery Theater. But then the immigrants came flooding in, and the elites like Astor fled uptown for better air. They don't want to be around them folks. Don't be putting your bull jive up in my stuff. So it was tough living in those rooming flats. People slept on the floors, people slept on the streets. Then by the late 1890s, the Bowery was known for their brothel and their sex shops. But the 20th century brought with it new innovations, but it also brought new problems. The Great Depression of the 1929 hit hard, and Bowery didn't seem to bounce back. Veterans of the first two world wars found themselves living hard on the streets. TV shows portrayed prosperous households and idyllic lives, but the Bowery got its official title of New York Skid Row. That's what it was, New York Skid Row. So many hotels lined the Bowery, giving refuge to the Bowery bums who lived there. They were mostly alcoholics just looking for a place to sleep on the floor, but even though it wasn't a 5-star hotel accommodation, it was better than being taken alive by the cops. We get these testimonies of people living in the Bowery based on this AI documentary, like it's a wonderful place. No, it's miseryless company. It's cheap, it's nice. Hey, the drinks are free. This place stinks. Where the women at? I don't know, but hey, no one said that, but we're just getting a preview of what people are saying about the Bowery. So now this AI lady standing at a urinal that's definitely appealing if I gotta do a number one, and she says, as with many of the worst places, the human spirit breeds creativity. Ugh, this place stinks like piss. Of course it does. Look where you at. So now you go into BCBG Club that opened in the mid 1970s. We can only imagine what this OMGFU stands for. And this BCBG Club in the Bowery, it kickstarted loads of musical careers that was known as the cradle of American punk rock. Despite that, the club was shuttered in 2006 to become a high-end clothing boutique. This isn't the only legend the Bowery is known for. Now let's get into some real juice right here. This one, now we cooking with grease. You talking about our boy Spawn right now. So in the 1990s, there was the urban legend of the king of Rat City. Allegedly, he was some kind of supernatural being who protected the down on their luck residents of Rat City. Yeah, that's right. Talk about our boy right there. And that's our boy going to work on Overkill. So amateur sleuths would try and capture footage of this king fighting otherworldly foes, but most of their evidence was debunked. So we get Bootsy and Bobby, residents of Rat City, who know of Al, but Bootsy is like, yeah, sure, the cops house us, but we're okay. We got a secret weapon. We got a king. And this guy, Bobby, is like, okay, Boots, be quiet. What's the matter, Bobby? Don't listen to Boots. He don't know what he's talking about. So in secret, or at least he thought it was in secret, he was like, what you doing saying all that? We gotta keep quiet around here. I'm sorry, but Al's a hero. Don't you think you should get some good press about this? And the reporter's like, gentlemen, your mics are still on. Well, that's their oh crap moment right there. So now we go into today. Today, Rat City is the home to most of New York City population. And we see this guy watching it on his TV, drinking an adult beverage, as we could only imagine, and he hears a noise. Some racket next door. And even though that guy's drinking something, I gotta drink some coffee after this because this video is sponsored by coffee. So if you'd like to buy a boy a cup of coffee, link in description or donate to the super thanks. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. But we'll get back into the content. So he hears something, puts his ear to the wall, gets blasted. Bro's like, oh, hell to the nah, makes a phone call, so call security services, what's your emergency? And this guy tells him, look, a blast came through my wall. Remain calm, what's your location? I'm at 81 Bowery. Rat City? Pal, it's gonna be a while. Nah, you better come now, there's some crazy stuff going here. And they're like, look, we ain't got no urgency, man. You're at the Bowery, bro. Just hang tight. Someone will be there. Eventually. So Peter CAIRN's suit pierces through the wall. This guy is like, forget this, I'm out of here. And we pick up exactly where we left off in issue number 5. Quinlan's like, Peter, please, we gotta get out of here. But Peter can't control his suit right now, so his suit does some damage to Quinlan right now, and Quinlan bleeds, razor sharp. So what did Peter see in that cocoon? Well, you know, the suit's worst enemy, the Violator. What was he feeling? He attacked Quinlan like Quinlan was like his enemy, like he wanted to kill him. So even the Violator hallucinations like, please, shut up, please, Peter. And then when Peter calms down from his rage or the initial shock or kind of regains control of himself, he sees what's happening and he doesn't like what he sees. So Iman, who was there trying to get answers about the suit on behalf of his boss, Dr. Bose, he's like, man, he's still breathing, but we have to help him. And Quinlan's like, no, we have to go. But Peter's like, but he's hurt. And Quinlan is like, so am I. But the security forces are already here and they're coming. So we gotta get out of here. And Peter's like, okay, let's go. So Peter uses the suit's necroplasm instinctively. I don't know if he just learns how to use the suit like that, but he learned as he grows, just like Spawn did in the Spawn series. As time went on, he learned how to better use his suit. So Peter hears Quinlan with the necroplasm to stop the bleeding. And Quinlan is naturally asking, is this even safe? It'll have to do for now. You said we have to go, so let's go. So the forces come in, they see Dr. Ammon, they realize he's got a pulse, they got to get him out of here, because even though he's lost a lot of blood, don't worry, we'll get you somewhere safe. And that somewhere safe is with Dr. Bose, and he gets stable. So Dr. Ammon wakes up like, nah, where am I? Hello, Ammon, says Dr. Bose. We have so much to discuss. I don't know if he's gonna torture for answers, but I see his heart being digitally removed. It's just crazy how this issue is ended. I don't know if Dr. Bose is gonna make his own little suit to combat the Spawn suit in 2099 or something like that. But anyways, that is the end of issue number 6 of Rat City. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. Also, link in description if you wish to add this comic book and or any of our other limited print rated comic exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. With all that being said, thank you again for watching. Until next time.